here we are talking with Monique B. Thomas, a vocalist who lives in France currently, and where she and I did a project together. It's called Open Up. We're going to talk about that, and then also some tips for vocalists and some tips for producers for when they're working with a vocalist, and just learn a little bit more about Monique as well. She's a Philly girl, but she's living in France now. So Monique, feel free to introduce yourself.
How you doing? Well, you gave me a pretty good introduction. So yeah, I'm originally from Philly. I was born in Philly, although I moved to South Jersey when I was 11. So
okay.
I went to private school when I was in Philly. I went to Abington Friends, and I actually learned to have a very neutral accent, which is great for me now because I'm getting into voiceover work, and they don't want me to have any, unless you are asked for a particular accent. It's good to sort of be able to do a neutral accent. So you won't hear the Philly voice. You won't even hear the South Jersey goyle. You won't hear any of that. But to be honest with you, I've been in France now more than I've been in the United States. On the 5th of this month, it will be 27 years that I live in France now. So, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am. It's none of your business. But but I've been here for a while. What'd you say?
We're the same age.
Okay. Well, actually, I don't care. You know what? Let's just say I'm 50. I just had my 50th birthday. And yeah, I moved here when I was 23. And it's an interesting journey. It has been an interesting journey. I moved here after doing my vocal studies at William Patterson University, where I got my BA in music and in jazz. And a friend of mine, I met a French bass player who became a really good friend of mine and brought me here to teach voice, which is really crazy because I never wanted to teach at all. I just wanted to perform. And so I wound up getting into teaching, realized that I stunk as a teacher. And so I wound up going back to school to learn to be a better teacher and also learn to be a better singer. So I'm teaching and singing and enjoying it. Yeah.
Nice. That's so cool. So yeah, it sounds like you've got your plate full, and I know that you gig regularly. And how's the scene in France for music and jazz and all that?
So the weird thing is, have you ever heard that saying, "You're never king in your own kingdom"?
Oh yeah, it's definitely true for DJ producers as well. So
like I get more work outside of France, like major work, or I should say work that pays the bills, outside of France than in France. I do most of my tours like Denmark, Germany, Russia, just other places. I do have some gigs here, but because I started touring more and that was really paying, I stopped doing the smaller gigs here. So I don't have that much work here in France as a singer, as sometimes I'd like to. I find their system, they have a particular system that makes it kind of hard in my opinion to make a good living as a singer. It's a system that allows you a sort of stability. So it's weird because once you get into the system, you have to do a certain number of gigs and hours to qualify. And then once you've done that, then you have this statute of where when you don't have a gig, you have a certain rate, a day rate that you're paid. And in order to stay in that system, you have to keep gigging and keep meeting those deadlines or whatever. But what it does is it makes you sort of just chase gigs, I feel. So I never really got into that. So I'm more, most of my income is coming from teaching. And then I gig. That allows me to choose the gigs that I do because I don't want to just do any gig because that would sort of kill my spirit as far as music is concerned. I'm just too sensitive when it comes to music, and I want to make sure that I'm doing music that feeds my soul rather than robs it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I never got into that system, and I'm definitely not spinning on that system. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. It's good that you have, who you are and your boundaries and what you're willing to put up with or not. And that's awesome. You're the queen of your own queendom.
Well, yeah, I got my little old island, and I'm just doing what I can to stay afloat.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the project for a minute, the Open Up project. So it's house music, and I know that you're
Yeah.
a jazz singer, but you've done. I mean, everybody knows house,
Yeah.
especially in Europe. So how? Just tell me about working on the Open Up project and your thoughts on house music, etc.
Well, even though my studies are in jazz, my calling card is that I'm very, um, I do a lot of different things, a lot of different styles. So I also have a degree in opera. I
Mm,
grew up on soul, R&B, funk. Um, and so, house falls somewhere in there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? A lot of the vocals that I love from house music are heavily gospel influenced.
yeah, for sure.
So for me, it didn't seem to be much of a stretch to do that project because, like I said, even though it's not heavily gospel influenced, it is rhythmically influenced by all of the things that I listen to.
Yeah.
I'm a rhythmic singer, first of all. For
Mm,
me, rhythm is everything. Like I always say to my students, all the most beautiful notes in the wrong places are no longer the most beautiful notes. You've got to
mm,
have rhythm to give meaning to those notes that you're singing. So
yeah.
outlining the rhythm is always important for me. And of course, house is heavily rhythmic because it's so repetitive. It really and it correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually don't really listen to a whole lot of house now. I had my period, I would say, back in like the end of high school and college. I even danced somewhat, to house music, whatever. But it's very trance like. With a lot of the beats and things, and even chord changes just coming around again, it sort of can put you into a trance.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that it's like the genre trance, but like getting into the more of that almost hypnotic state. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
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 yeah, that's what
yeah,
I meant. I didn't mean the
yeah,
genre, but
yeah,
a hypnotic state where you basically can't stop moving your feet and your body.
yeah, for sure.
Right. Which
Yeah,
again is very much related to shout music and gospel.
yeah,
That's exactly what that is. It's like, the spirit moving through you and you're
yeah,
no longer, you know, in control of your body. Is sort of the messenger just moving through you. And
mm,
so that's something I actually like about house music when it's done right.
yeah,
Yeah. So working on this project was interesting for me because I do believe it's my first house project, but I'm not sure because I did some stuff early on in France that's probably not worth mentioning. I don't really remember it that much. And no offense to, but even on my end, it was just, beginnings, if you will.
yeah,
Um, but I enjoy, like I said, the rhythm of it, and then of course, writing some of the backing vocals to sort of give it a little pop. Not pop music, but just a
yeah,
little jolt. Yeah, I gotta be.
yeah.
I'm keep using words that are actually genres, and that's not what I meant to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Did you enjoy working on the project? And will you ever work with me again?
Absolutely. First of all, you're a joy to work with, and I always look for projects that will stretch me in some kind of way.
Mhm.
It's never just financial,
Yeah.
unless it is, and that could happen because sometimes, look, let's be honest. Sometimes, as an artist, you may have lean periods where you're just like, I need a damn money, and
Yeah.
we just got to do this. But if I can avoid that, and I sort of stick to my criteria, I have, the criteria of the money has to be worth my time. I have to feel like I'm being honored and not taken advantage of. So money is one thing. The music is, good. That's another criteria. Or the people that you're working with, like they could either be prestigious or you're going to learn something from working with them. Like you're a better musician after doing the project. And so, I feel like this checked all three boxes for me because I'm getting more and more into vocal production. And so, when you sent me the project, you're the first person that sent me a project with backing vocals that I need to write and where the specs were clearly lined out, which was really super helpful. You're like, I need this in 24-bit and I need this and I need this. And I'm like, okay, that helps me to sort of check my boxes on my end when it comes to producing my vocals. Whereas, a lot of times we start doing this journey of, recording in GarageBand, and we just press record, you know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We start somewhere, but when you start rubbing elbows with other people who are actual producers and who know how to do this and who, they have an order of operations and things that make the process not only a better process, but then so that post production is a lot easier. So that was cool for me because I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta make sure that's on my radar and for the next project, it just makes everything easier the next time around. And
Yeah.
you even gave me some feedback about, sound treatment. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's on my radar now that I have to make sure that I have a treatment space because I have 2 decent mics, but it doesn't matter about the mic if my space that I'm recording in is complete crap and untreated." So now that's on my radar where it wasn't before, and I'm very
Yeah.
thankful.
Absolutely, no problem. And then, it doesn't even have to be like this super expensive treatment that you do. Like I have, you see the pads behind me.
Mhm,
I've got those in different places in my room, and
mhm,
those are just, I bought 24 of those pads for like I don't know, $100 or something, maybe
mhm,
150, and that's where I'm at right now. Like I would like
mhm.
to eventually get like a little bit more legit, acoustic paneling, but it's just gonna start with where we are and what we can
Yeah,
afford, and you can
exactly.
you can put some maybe put up put your mattress up against the wall or something
Yeah.
for a minute,
Well,
and if that's what you have
yeah.
to do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But what I have seen, because I've totally gone on a deep dive and I'm like a rabbit hole into sound treatment and what is it called? Soundproofing. Because I
Mm,
now realize that they're two different things.
yeah.
Um, and one of the things that keeps coming back is like, man, blankets. Blankets,
Yeah.
you will do it. And I actually have other producer friends who, produce their own vocals. They're like, I sing in my closet.
Yeah.
'Cause, there's just deadening stuff everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at the most cost efficient way to do it, and it looks like it's going to be blankets,
Yeah.
I'm probably
Good.
just gonna buy some blankets just for that purpose so that I don't have to keep taking them off my bed and putting them back. Because I need at this point that I'm recording so much, I'm needing my studio to be set up where I can just go in, record, get out,
Yeah.
I don't wanna if I have time that I have to spend setting things up, it's just gonna make it so I don't wanna record, and I don't wanna do that, so I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be blankets.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you gonna hang them on the wall or like directly, or is it like do you have like a rack that you're gonna put them on, kind of hang them over?
Alright, so here's what's gonna decide. First of all, I'm still trying to decide the space that I'm gonna do it in, and,
Uh,
like, right before this meeting, I had a lesson, but right before that, I happened onto a video where some guy was making an actual booth with PVC,
mm.
tubing. I'm like, I wonder if my boyfriend can make that for me," and I'm like, "Okay, I might get some moving blankets and just do that," which would just really make it easy because it's just a square booth. Other than that, I have this, like, alcove because my bedroom is up at the top of the house, so you'd say, like, the attic, and so part of my room has this alcove where it goes down, like, into a triangle, and then there's enough room for a desk in there. I was like, "That could be cool because then I could just store all my, equipment there." I'd have, the mic set up or whatever. I'd have my Focusrite and, set up in there, and all I have to do is just grab my computer, go in there, and there's already, um curtains, but I changed the curtains to make them like movie theater curtains or
Mm.
theater curtains,
Yeah.
and then I'd put blankets on that wall, so it'd be there's only the wall in front of me and then the ceiling coming down and the wall on the side, so something like that. I don't know. We will see. I'm gonna have to play around with it, but as I'm limited with money, I'm gonna have to get creative, and I see a lot of people are being very, very creative with how they're doing that, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing the the results or the
for the
difference.
next
Yeah.
project,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I'd work with you again if you're wanting to work with me
I'd
again.
love to. Yeah, that'd be great. You delivered
Yeah.
some really good vocals, and I was actually really
Oh, thanks.
surprised, pleasantly surprised with the amount of material that you sent me. Like, for anybody listening out there who wants to work with Monique, I mean, I asked her for a top line and maybe a couple of backing tracks, and she sent me like this whole like harmony stack and everything, and then also like a bunch of ad libs. So I would say that that was awesome. Yeah, and I would absolutely love to work on another project with you
Oh,
again.
thanks.
Yeah,
Listen, my thing is about being an artist and something I try to teach my students. Being an artist is about choices. It's the choices you make that make you the artist that you are. And as a producer, the more choices you have available to you, then you can do what you do. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't feel limited, because there's nothing worse than getting into production, post production, and like, man, the two choices I have, they both stink or they
yeah,
don't fit what I had in mind. So I was like, let me try to give them a couple different things. So if one direction wasn't quite what you were looking for, you had something else, and hopefully you got that. And then the other thing is I just tend to have a lot of ideas. As you can see, I'm very verbose. I I talk a lot and I also have a lot to sing. So I'm like, let me just throw it all on there and then he'll do what he wants to do with it?
awesome. Yeah, it was really appreciated and definitely a delight to receive that in the file package.
Cool. Plus
Yeah,
the song's uplifting, and I
yeah,
think we're in a time, well, it doesn't matter. We always need uplifting. I
yeah,
think we can always could use a good dose of something that's just positive, and getting your body moving actually is uplifting itself. So just moving and shaking that thing can get you to feel a little bit better in the movement of the music, and of course that rhythm that is kind of puts you in a trance. It's just all fun.
yeah, for sure. That's good
Yeah.
feedback. I love it. All right. So let's see. What are some tips that you have for producers who are working with a vocalist or who want to work with a vocalist or who maybe need to, yeah, maybe are trying to learn more about working with vocalists?
Okay. I think it's very helpful. Um, Sometimes singers and producers don't speak the same language. And I don't mean like French and Italian. I mean like um they might not describe the same things the same way. And so
Mm,
trying to figure out sometimes what the other person is really wanting is part of the job. So my job, when you told me, what was the word that you used? You were looking for something specific, which was actually different than what I would have given you originally. I tapered and tamed my singing because I would have initially gone for something way more gospel, way louder, because
mm,
that's just how I sing typically.
mm.
But because it's not my project, I have to respect the specs. And so you I can't remember what was the name. You gave me a name. I'm so sorry, but you gave me a name of a type of vocal you wanted, and I had no clue what that was. And so you then sent me some examples of singers that were in that style. And that was exactly what I needed to get an idea of what you wanted? So,
Yeah, so I think I described like kind of like the more of the vibe. Like I just want this to be like kind of chill and loungy, a
mhm, yeah.
bit more loungy than like dance floor centric. I mean,
Mhm.
almost all of the music that I make is kind of like crosses that line between lounge and dance floor, and
Okay.
I don't know. I'll probably make. I mean, just because I'm getting up there in years,
Mhm.
I'm not going to be. I mean, that's just aligned with where I'm at in my life right now. Like, I'm not going to be like on the middle of the dance floor all the time, and
Okay, you'll be on the
and
sidelines.
I mean,
Okay.
sometimes I will, but like I
Yeah.
would much rather like be in a lounge environment most of the
Okay.
time anyway, more
Okay.
often than dance. So I want something that will fit the environment that I prefer to be in. So,
Gotcha.
but then I will say though that with the vocals that you sent me, I could send it to another producer, and because there's so much to choose from, they
Mhm.
could take some of that and like make it a dance floor anthem too.
Mhm.
So it's versatile. So I really appreciated the versatility that you provided as well. So
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just trying to make sure I covered all bases. Cause
Yeah.
here's the thing, sometimes people ask you for something again, and they're not the way they described it is not the way I would necessarily describe it, so it's like, "Okay, I have to my job is to decipher what you mean. Like, I know what you said, but what do you mean?"
Yeah.
You know? And so, you said this, but I was like, "I don't quite understand that." And then when you sent me a list of singers, I was like, "Oh, okay. This
Uh,
is what he's going for." So it's less sung than what I'm used to doing. Most
uh,
people are asking me to go full on and all out
uh,
and like, rip it up. And it was less sung. So I was like, okay, just, pull it back a notch, pull it back a notch. So the more as a producer, the more that you can accurately describe or not even just accurately describe because it's not just a question of accuracy. It's a question of being able to convey that to the singer that's going to be singing. So there's a little bit of work on both ends. Like you've
mm,
got to be able to clearly state what you're looking for and if that doesn't go over the first time, find another way to demonstrate it. If you can't vocally demonstrate it, then, find some other have in your, a playlist or something, which is what you sent me. You sent me a playlist
mhm,
of singers that do the thing that you're asking. That is so valuable because then
mm,
the singer who's normally supposed to be able to pick up on that, like if the singer can't pick up on what's going on in a playlist, a properly curated playlist, then they're not doing their job. So there is this, this thing of communication between singer and producer to make sure that, the project goes well. And the
mm.
singer should really want to understand what that is rather than to impose their will on the project because it's not my project, it is your project. So my job is to make sure that you get what you're asking for until you're happy with it.
I love that and appreciate that. And then also, I mean, like, I try to, I don't know, I hope that when I give like specifics that I am, because I worry about, okay, is the artist going to feel, is the singer going to feel stifled in any way or anything like that? Or do you feel like, did you ever feel like your artistic side was hampered a little bit at all? Or,
Well, here's the thing. If you're a gun for hire,
mm,
then you're a gun for hire.
oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
and when I accept a project, I accept whatever that entails.
Mm,
Otherwise, I don't accept the project. So, accepting the project means I accept the vision of the project, and I have to
mm,
use my skills and talent to the end of that project. So, it's not personal.
yeah.
It's not about me. This is not a Monique B. Thomas project. I know I'm a gun for hire. And so I go in with that mindset, and that keeps me from um getting my feelings hurt when either you don't like what I sent or if what you're asking is not what I'd want to do on the project. Now,
Sure.
sometimes it's hard because I'm not like, oh gosh, that's going to sound horrible, but that's what they're paying me to do. I think it's important for singers to have that mentality as a gun for hire because you've got to take yourself that part of yourself out of it. I mean, you've got to obviously put yourself into it when you're doing what they ask. So you've got to do it with the fullness of your personality, but to the end of what the producer is asking. And I think I know when I was younger, I was can I say a bad word or
Mm,
no?
sure.
I was a little shit. I had a lot of ego, and I was like, "Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm gonna just do what I want." And I know they probably didn't use any of my vocals. They're probably like, this little twerp, she can just get the hell out of here because she's wasting our time, she's wasting our money because we want something particular. If it's just like ordering a cake, um, or I'll tell you what, I get my nails done and I know exactly what I want. Like I come in and I have ideas, but I live in the country. So the lady that does my nails, she's like, "Are you sure you want that?" I'm like, "I know exactly what I want." She's like, "But that color," and I'm like, "That's what I want. Just execute. Please just execute. I don't want your opinion. I
Yeah.
I want that." And so it really is the same thing. It's just being a gun for hire and it's not personal.
Right. Well, and the fact that is that this is just one project, and there's going to be lots and lots of projects, that you're going to be, that you'll work on or that you have worked on, and
Yeah.
you get to express your different sides of your artistry with all the different projects that you do. So, yeah.
And, here's the thing. You know that you are technically capable when you can take direction from a producer.
Mm,
When you're the kind of singer that is what we call a one-trick pony, is where you may be exceedingly good at something, but that's all you can do. And the director or the producer asks you to do something else, and it's out of your wheelhouse, and you simply can't do it. From a technical standpoint, you're not gonna be a good gun for hire. And so either you're gonna have to go back in the shed room and learn some new skills so that you can take direction, or only work in the situations where the thing that you do exceedingly well is what they want. But that's very limiting. So for me, because already I sing a lot of different styles of music, and that's actually what I pride myself on, because I don't just dabble in a little of that. Like I sing jazz, I've
mm,
sung opera, I sing gospel, I sing these different things. That allows me to take multiple types of directions. So having to go in and sing something where I normally sing a lot and have to sing less than, it wasn't frustrating. It was like, okay, can I handle that? Can I It's
mm.
actually somewhat of a little bit of a challenge for me. And I like I said, I love projects where I come out the other end a better singer or a better gun for hire than when I started. Cause then for the next project, when somebody asks me to not go so gospel, I can do it.
Awesome. And maybe there will be a gospel project for us, a little bit more of a gospel house
Yay!
project for us in the future.
Yay! Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
nice. Okay, so you kind of started talking a little bit about some advice for vocalists and work in the business side of things. Do you have any other tips for vocalists who are, either regardless of their experience level, what do you have any, I guess, advice for vocalists that about
absolutely.
on the business side, the technical side, whatever?
So there's a couple things. I mentioned the fact of being able to take direction, and I don't just mean there's two parts to that. There's the being able to take direction so you can execute whatever they're asking you. That means be technically proficient. On the other hand, being able to take direction, like from a human standpoint, like be teachable, be directable, if I can say, because a lot of singers come in with this huge ego, which usually is really, it's really kind of low self-esteem. It's usually
Yeah.
people who are kind of on edge and they're
Hmm.
feeling attacked for the smallest little thing.
Yeah. Maybe
If
some
you can
imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the imposter syndrome, it's like they're reading into everything. It's like, "No, I just want you to sing less loud," or "That's
Yeah.
it." There's nothing hidden in what I said about what I'm asking for you vocally.
Yeah.
Being directable, being easy to work with. Um, do what you say you're gonna do when you say you're gonna do it. Um, Under promise, over deliver, because one of the things, are there people that sing better than me out there? Absolutely. Absolutely, and there's always gonna be. However, I'm easy to work with,
Mm.
and
I would say that
I
I
do
agree.
I'm
Yeah.
easy to work with, and I bring a lot of things to the table. I'm very creative, and yeah, and maybe I am tooting my own horn. It's just that I know myself well, so you have to also know yourself. Like you have to
Hmm.
know what skills you have. If somebody asks me to do something that I know I can't do, I'm going to say it. I'll say, "Well, I can
Mm.
give it a try." I typically don't do that because I don't feel like that's in my wheelhouse. Let's see, if you want, I can try, but I can't promise what that's going to sound like. I'm willing to give it a try, but knowing yourself allows you to have certain boundaries that are not, it's not like a rigid thing. It's not like I can't do that or I won't do that. It's just like, hey, I don't think that that's in my wheelhouse, but I can give it a try, and you can see, feel like if you don't like it, no harm done, but I warned you. So being directable, I think, is probably one of the most important things, and I think that takes time. Being a singer is, while it is an instrument like any other instrument, um, I think the way singers develop emotionally is just different than other instruments. First
Mm.
of all, our instrument is the only instrument that while you are learning to play it, you're actually developing it. You're actually building it.
Mm.
And people don't realize that. Like, um, you would say simply, like on a piano, if you're going to play C and then F, you just play C and F, and you could physically see what that looks like. But
Mm,
CNF usually falls into some sort of break in the voice.
mm,
And so you'd have to learn to navigate that break. So, I mean, you could physically sing it, it just might sound horrible. But learning to navigate that break and strengthen that connection while you're learning to just sing CNF, that has to happen. And it takes a long time before that is so stable that you could do it at will, at different tempos, at different volumes, at different heights, different genres, on different vowels with different consonants. There's a lot to it. And so I don't know, I guess that means that we develop differently, but on the same at the same time, we have to be held to the same standard as any other musician as far as technical proficiency. We
mm,
can't be coddled as like, well, it's a singer, and so, you can't really do those. It's like, no, man. There's session singers out there that are actual killers, and they're killers on their instrument, just like any drummer or any
mm,
guitarist or bass player. And I'm all for, if you're gonna do this thing. Like, be the best darn singer you can be. So that means get training.
mm,
It means get training. People are so stuck on the talent that they have when they were born that
mm.
they forget that everything requires skill, you know?
So what would you say to someone who maybe just doesn't have very much money? How do they go about getting some training?
All right. So that's a big question because most people don't have a lot of money, but most people who want to do a thing find a way to do a thing.
Yeah.
You start where you are. So let's say you don't have a lot of money. And I'll give a perfect example. I have students that work with me once a month. And that once a month, they could pay somebody else to have 3 lessons. 3
Mm,
lessons, but they're still not to get gonna get what they get from me in 1 session. So
mm,
they'd be better off putting their money aside, making it a priority, and studying with the person that's going to give them what they need, even if it's not as often, and then doing what they've been told to do in the lesson. And so that follow-up, if you explain to your teacher, "Hey, listen, I can only afford to see you once a month." And I have students like that. I've got different levels. I have students I see twice a year.
mm,
It really depends on their commitment, also where they are in their training, because in the beginning, you most likely need more training on a regular basis than you do once you've developed a solid technique.
mm,
Then you may be coming in for a particular project. Like, I might be working with you to prepare to go on the road or to go in the studio or just, a song or an audition. Those are particular situations. But in the beginning, you usually would want to have more. But if you can't, I've got this one student I've been working with for over a year. She takes 1 lesson a month,
mm,
but she takes 1 lesson every month. Every month, she's there
mm,
and she's making progress. So, and the other thing is like, okay, how important is this to you? Because let's be honest, you cannot learn how to sing through TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You cannot, because
mm.
everybody seems to have a degree, and that's not what people want to hear. People want to hear that, it's just tricks and tips and tricks, and that's going to get it. Stevie Wonder didn't have tips and tricks. Stevie Wonder, he studied with Seth Riggs.
Right. And maybe you could learn maybe a couple of like technical things from a YouTube video, but then nobody's going to be hearing that. And you need feedback from somebody else who is hearing your voice. Like you just do.
You definitely need feedback, but here's the other thing. Here's where it gets dangerous. And I already said that I was learning tips and things from YouTube for sound stuff, but I failed to mention that I speak with several different producers, yourself included,
Mm,
about sound treatment. So I was just getting more information, and then I sort of run it by them. So let me just say this: the information that you hear on the internet, it all has a context.
mm,
And so one tip that might actually be good for one person might actually be harmful for another person. It depends
mm,
on where you are in your studies. And the thing is most singers don't have enough knowledge to know that that particular thing is going to help or hurt them,
mm,
which is why you need to study, because then you have somebody who knows your voice, who knows your project, that can then bounce all, you can bounce all of these questions off of them in the scope of your studies and your voice and your particular situation. So I'm not, I think it's great to be interested in learning about singing, but when it comes down to it, getting actual training, like, would you go to a doctor that learned everything from YouTube?
no.
Never. That it
Mm,
is a it is a it is a crazy phenomenon that we have because of internet. Now everybody knows everything on the internet, and it's hard to discern what is fact, fiction,
mm,
or just beliefs,
right.
you know?
Yeah. So, if someone doesn't live in France, but they want to work with you, do you do
Online.
remote classes?
Absolutely. I've been
Yeah.
working online since 2007.
Okay.
Okay, so well before COVID. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, when I started working online, I was already late to the party. There were so
Mm,
many people, my teacher included, who'd been working for many, many, many years before that. So, yes, I do online lessons. I have students all over the world, and we can definitely work something out. It's obviously preferable if I can see you in person. There's some things that need to be heard in real time, because a lot of what we do is ear training, believe it or
mm,
not. Like, your ear has to pick up the sound that I'm making in order for you to then try and make the same sound. And so obviously if the sound is not great with,
mm,
with the connection, that can make it a little bit more difficult. But the next best thing would be, if you can't study me with me in person, would be to study with me online. And a lot
mhm.
of people do that. Yeah.
Nice.
Should I give
So
my website, or are you gonna put that in the show notes,
I'll
or?
definitely put that in the show notes or
Okay,
the description on the YouTube video for
cool.
sure.
Thanks.
And yeah, absolutely. I would love to see you see you busier, and maybe it'll cost me
Me
more money
too.
later if I can't afford you anymore. But
Oh, I
but
wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
okay. But yeah, so that goes for working with you as a vocal instructor, and then I assume as well with as a singer who's going to work on, if a producer wants to reach out to you,
Yeah,
yeah, they
absolutely.
go to your
Yeah,
website as well. Hmm.
yeah, well, they can, just send me an email at info@moniquebthomas.com. That's the easiest way to contact me. Going through the website, you'll just have the thing to fill out to send me an email, so I'll just give you my email address there, and I can write backing vocals for songs that exist already, or like you had me do, sing the top line, and different things, or help artists. I also help artists with style, so I help artists who have a song that just kind of, blah, and they're trying to funk it up a little bit, give it a little style to it. I also do that as well.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that covers everything that I can think of right now. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Gosh, no, other than, singers, be curious. And oh, yeah, there is a thing I'd like to say. I think singers would do well to get into recording as quickly as possible. And
Mm,
here's the reason. When you just sing, you have a false idea of what you sound like. And the first time you hear recording, you want to go and slit your wrists, because you're like, oh my God, that's what I sound like. You're like, oh, that's what I sound
mm,
like. So, one thing you can do is, because you're starting to take lessons, right? Hint, hint. Um, Start recording your practice sessions. First of all, you should be recording your lessons so that you can get the most out of that lesson, because you can listen back to it and all of the information that your teacher's giving you, because you can't possibly remember all their instructions and all their critiques from that 1 hour lesson. You can't remember them all. So listening to the lesson 10 times over, 20 times over, however many times you need to work on it between sessions, that's going to do you good. But also, that's going to allow you to already get used to what your voice sounds like recorded. Now, here's another reason you want to start recording as soon as possible. You want to get used to what an untreated voice sounds like versus what we hear Beyonce do. People
mm,
don't realize that it's very unflattering. it's really unflattering when the first time you hear a raw, dry vocal, you're like, "What the heck is that?" It's just
uh,
horrible. It's like nails on a chalkboard,
yeah,
but it's completely untreated, and then we hear these professional vocals, and we're like, "Why do they sound like that?" And I was like, "Well, they've got a different mic chain. They've got they've got
yeah,
a whole bunch of things that cost thousands of dollars that's behind them that really helps to enhance what they're already doing well." And I feel like the sooner you become sensitized to that or sensitive to that, I think it will take away some of the bad feeling that you have about not sounding like Beyonce right away because you realize that, hey, she had help. Not, and
mhm,
I'm not saying she doesn't sing well,
yeah,
but they're sweetening things up that need sweetening. They're taking things out that need taking out so that the presentation is like perfect. And getting used to that is going to be helpful. The other thing it's going to do, um, you're going to get a feel for what sounds you like, how you
mm,
like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm late to the party because now I'm just starting at my age to really get into what mics I wanna sing on and compressors and EQs. I never was interested in that before, ever. And now I realize that, like, as an artist, that is also a part of my sound. So, the more I know about it, not that I don't wanna be, a sound engineer,
yeah,
but as somebody that does do a lot of vocals, if I have a better handle on that, I can then say if somebody does a mix and I don't like it, I can tell them why
mhm,
without, using these nebulous terms that they won't understand. I can say, "Hey, it feels like these frequencies are way too high and these are too low," and, a bit more specific. So,
yeah,
it really is just becoming more well-rounded and being more professional by learning more about recording, I think.
yeah, and well, and that I think that gives, two advantages. The first one being that, when you start recording sooner, I mean, if you if you have a producer, if you tell people, producer that you sing and but you don't have anything online or something to send them, and you have no
Mhm.
demo at all, then I don't know, like, I wouldn't necessarily give as much credence to,
Credibility.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like if
somebody.
a tree falls and you're not
Yeah.
there to see it, did it really fall, right?
Right, and the
Yeah.
other thing is that, if you the more you can do independently, the less reliant you are on, like, a professional studio, and there's definitely a reason to go into a professional studio sometimes, but when you're working with a project, like, with a producer maybe at my level,
Mhm.
who, I'm still kind of, emerging, if you will, if
Mhm.
and, um you can if you do a vocal on your own, you can actually like it's just much more freedom to be able to work with more people and on your own schedule rather than having to wait for the studio and
Mhm.
being reliant on the studio engineer to do certain things. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just go for the obvious. The sooner you get into recording, the sooner you can start to then record for people remotely anywhere in the world. Like I can take my mic anywhere. If I can go on vacation and somebody says, "Hey, I need these vocals." Actually, I've done that. I've been on tour and I had to hand in some vocals, like 7 vocals, and I just stayed in my hotel room and knocked them out. It was a long
Mhm.
day, but I just knocked them out. That's more income, and
Yeah.
we have to be aware of how the music industry has changed because most people have, you know, access to a DAW for recording, some kind of microphone, some kind of processor. Most people can do some sort of recording, good, bad,
Right.
or ugly. You gotta start
Hmm.
somewhere. But that is more money for you. So
Yeah.
if somebody like let's go for that person that, wants to take voice lessons, doesn't have money, but maybe they have like a little bit of style and they already sound good and maybe they have a skill of like doing harmony or writing something. If that's a skill set that they can use for earning money, then they can take that money and do what? Either they can eat with it if they need it, but they can put that money aside for voice lessons. So I think it's important for singers to get as professional as possible and get into the recording so that they can become autonomous. Autonomy is
Hmm.
everything. and so they can earn some extra money. Because I think, who doesn't need extra money? We certainly do, and
Yeah.
you can do that from anywhere in the world, really.
Right. Well, and then also, when with the the rise of these AI vocal services,
Mhm,
it's I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I will always work the human being. I don't think, I mean, I don't know that an AI vocal can ever really channel the same kind of vibe that
mhm.
a human being can. But there are producers out there that maybe think that it's easier to work with an AI vocalist or whatever. But if you're, I feel like if a vocalist is flexible and has the tools that they need, then it makes them just as easy to work with as AI.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's 8 billion people on the planet, right?
Yeah.
I think there's something for everybody. If there's a producer, I am not gonna knock AI. I use AI in multiple ways in my life and in my business on a daily basis. However, as a creative and as an artist, I'm aware that we have not yet, stipulated the limits and things like that, so we do have to be careful with certain things. But however, I know that part of my journey is finding producers with whom I love to work, where the producer says, "Can you do that for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And I give it to them and they're happy. That's like a musical marriage. And I think that's so important because in my career, those are the those are the collaborations that I'm looking for. I
Mm.
have like 2 or 3 pianists that I call my musical husbands. There's no other exchanges other than music going on, but we have such a synergy and it makes life worth living because of those collaborations. And so having that with, producers and yeah, a producer can just tell an AI to just do that. And if they're happy with that, great for them. But I know that there's always going to be producers out there that are going to want to work with an actual human and get something that I don't think AI will be able to give them. Hopefully, I'm not wrong.
Well, I mean, music is spiritual, in I mean, in so many ways, on so many levels, and I don't know, AI can't be spiritual. So I guess that's my opinion.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I hope so,
yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation. We've covered a lot, and I really have enjoyed working with you. And I hope that, I mean, I know that we'll work together on something in the future,
I look forward to it,
and I
and I
really hope
wish you
that
so
other
much
producers.
success.
Thank you. So listen to the track "Open Up." I'll put a link to that also in
Yay.
the description and show notes, and whenever it comes out. And um, gotta shop it to some labels here soon. Um,
Cool.
but yeah, I hope that producers. I'm sure that producers will reach out to you, and then other singers as well for some voice lessons. So be about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me, Tony, and good luck to you, and I can't wait to work together again.
awesome. Take care.
Open up.